Okay, let's go.
Hey Sydney, just here today to go over your progress and ask you a few questions for us to take a look at your journey with Firefit training and talk about the things that you've enjoyed and your progress in the program so far. So, you ready? We can dive in and start asking questions and talking about you, girl.
Yeah, I'm super excited to be doing this.
Okay, let's do it, girl. So, why don't we start out by you just kind of telling everybody your name and what you do for work, and we can kind of start with that, okay?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Sydney. I am a full-time teacher and coach in high school. And what I coach is robotics. So there are some days, well, for months, it's like 12 plus hour days that I'm at school and with students and working and grinding until our competition.
Perfect. Okay. So, yeah, lots of long days for sure. You're
Yeah.
still able to fit all of this good stuff in.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's all about balance, right? And when we deal with our schedules. And I think sometimes with teachers and professions similar to that, we're told so often to put ourselves to the sideline. And so there is a way to balance everything and also make sure that you're fulfilling what you need to have a very successful life and a healthy life.
Absolutely, girl. Yeah. So with that, can you tell us where you're at mentally and physically before you joined Firefit training?
So before I joined Firefit training, we moved states. My weight was the highest it's been in a very long time. I'm talking about years. And it just wasn't coming off. I was going to the gym and it was just stagnant, fully stagnant, not changing. And so I was in a place of just pure frustration, a little bit of sadness and anger in the sense of I was like, why is this not working? I feel like I'm eating well. I feel that I'm working out. I'm getting my steps in. I'm doing all these pieces here, but I didn't find the magical formula. And so right before I joined, I was like, oh, what am I going to have to do? And I've joined other programs before. I would lose weight and then it would just come back on very quickly. And so I was like, something needs to change. And then I was on Instagram and I saw some of the videos and I don't know what it was. Um, but it was so interesting and it like spoke to me way more than the other videos did because it wasn't, hey, you have to eat a very specific way, like a vegan diet or plant-based diet. It's, hey, we know you work. We know that the type of work that you do is more focused on other people, that you care about other people. Take a second, take a step back, and let's see what we can do to help you care about yourself. And that's really like the place I was in, and then what truly resonated with me. And then I got a message from you, and I was like, "Oh my gosh,
Meant to be. Meant to
meant to
be.
be!" It was great, and like I think I procrastinated and responded because work got crazy. It was the first year for me at that school, and so I was like, "No, I'm so interested." And it's always that and that can be so elongated at times, um, but I'm glad it worked out.
Yeah, me too. And here you are. You look completely different, girl. So, what was the thing that made you finally decide like try something different? So, how about we try this program instead?
Like I said, I think it was just like higher weight, one of the highest I've been in a very long time. I felt a little more comfortable in my position. It's been a few months since I started in December. With this program here, I was at school for a few months. I was getting a little more acclimated. And like I said, nothing was working. I felt like I was watching what I was eating. I felt like I was working out the best way that I knew how. And nothing was ending in results. And so that's what really pushed me to connect and do this program.
Perfect. Okay. Took a leap of faith on yourself, right?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
good deal. And what were you most nervous about before starting the program?
For me, I really need that accountability. I hyper focus in on whatever I'm doing. And sometimes, and a lot of times that means I put myself on the sideline and then I make excuses on it. And so my nervousness was more about me. And I get very kind of self-conscious where I'm like, oh my gosh, am I going to disappoint others? And for me, that was the hardest part because there were times in the program where I did take this and put it to the side. My main trainer at the time, Shelby, super supportive. We're like, hey, we totally get it. Like life gets messy, life gets in the way. And so it actually, though that was like my biggest nervousness about joining the program, it was squashed very quickly because of how supportive everyone is.
Okay, love that girl. I always say there's so much more to this than, like living in the gym, living in the kitchen. I want this to be part of your life, but I don't want it to be your entire life, right? Like it should
Right,
have its own place, right? So,
right.
and that's how we do it here. So, once you did get inside the program, what surprised you most once you started?
What I said earlier about like the magical formula, I was working out, I was eating well, I was doing my steps, I was getting sleep, but I didn't have the right formula of the percentages or values for it. And for me, I was like, oh, I know about nutrition. I've studied it. I've done all this here. I've taken classes before. I know what you need. But what really surprised me about it was the holistic view around it, and it just made it click so much more.
Okay, good deal. Yeah, because I knew that we had talked about your experience with, like you'd taken some nutrition classes before, like you felt very comfortable with the information, like, and we talked about how much you had tried before, but just nothing just was moving for you at the time. But sometimes, somehow putting it all together, wrapping it up in a bow, and your results reflect that. Now that we've
Yeah,
got you in a good place to where you're not spending hours in the kitchen, hours in the gym,
right.
and we're taking a big look at you overall, like with your health and your mental health together as well, and making sure that we're doing what we need to fit for you in your life and make it fit not to be too much or too little, but just the right amount for you individually, right? So big stuff.
Yeah,
And
and I
then,
think sometimes people forget like it's okay to ask for help. And as a teacher, I was totally forgetting that piece. Like I want students to ask for help. So why in my personal life, in this instance here, I wasn't asking for help. And so it's really good to take that step back and kind of get a little uncomfortable being like, hey, I do need help. I know sometimes this comes easily to some people. It's not for me.
yeah,
And
I
so
mean,
this really helped with that.
even coaches have coaches.
Yeah, right.
I have my own coach, right? Like it's a whole thing. And I'm in this industry. It's like it does not make you any seem any less
Yeah.
or, weak if you ask for help. I feel like sometimes getting out of your comfort zone a little bit is uncomfortable to ask for help, but that's where growth happens. And here we are, girl.
Right. And that's where having like a supportive environment is critical to success. We talk about that in the educational sector so much, is that support is one of the main reasons why you have success stories. And so, even with this here, with the program, there's just so much support. And it's with the messages that we have, people are messaging each other, the small challenges. And even if you don't post as much, you get to read the support. And for me, as someone who's a little more introverted, I don't always post all successes, all these pieces here, but I read every single one of them, and it's inspiring and so supportive to hear what other people are going through, even their challenges, or when it comes to like food and making food there. So that's also really helpful.
Yeah, the community aspect. Love
Yeah.
it. Okay. And so what habits have you built that you never thought you'd stick with?
I was reflecting on this question a lot because once again, I was like, I already know all this, but I didn't know the magic formula. And even recently, I went to like this big family party, and there were just so many things around me. And I was able to balance that out. You're allowed to have a sweet treat. And you shouldn't like bring yourself down for wanting something like that. Have it in moderation. And now I feel like I truly understand what that means compared to before where I knew the word, I knew the definition. We all kind of get the understanding of it, but now I've actually fully lived it. And I feel like it's more muscle memory now when I'm thinking about food, when I'm thinking about my macros. And that's a lot of our conversation is kind of creating that formula for each meal. Or let's say you have a really busy day and you're like, oh my God, how do I get all of this in? And sometimes it's like, hey, you might want to split it up, which sometimes I don't always do, but I should, and I've learned that more. And it's like, what's your give and take? If, like, let's say you're not hungry because you didn't do too much that day, or you're not feeling the best, what does that mean? So it's taking that awareness into account, which I never thought of before.
Okay. Yes. Lifestyle change.
Yes, yes.
Yes. Okay. So now let's talk numbers. I'm going to share my screen. This is one of my favorite angles of you. So how many inches off your waist? How many pounds have you lost? Walk us through your results.
So far I've lost over 5 inches off my waist. And from my arms, it's been about 2 inches, and then from my legs, it's about 2 inches as well, which is really exciting. Um, and so far from the last check-in, it's been about 9 pounds. And for me, that's a big deal. As someone who um, has like PCOS and some other things, it really makes it difficult at times, even if you do calories in, calories out, all the information we all know because we watch the videos. But it's really about the consistency factor and the change in my body, which is amazing. I couldn't believe what I noticed from when I first started to now. I mean, I'm super excited about it.
You have no idea how happy it makes me to see you get these results. Whether we're here recording or not, I'll always hype you up about your
Yeah,
results. I love this back picture of you. We can really see how now we do have curves and we've
yeah.
got a shape to our body and we look toned. Look like your waist is, definitely smaller. You've got the glutes coming in, compared to before, like completely different shape. You look almost like a different person, honestly, looking at these pictures.
Yeah, I
So
mean, I'm really not complaining in
I love
any
it.
way.
So
And
happy
people
for
in my
you.
personal life have made comments. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm doing this training. I had a few people ask me about it. Like, what does that mean? You say that you're training. And I was like, well, it's a lifestyle training in the sense of it's not just about your food or your workouts there, though it's provided and you have conversations about it here. It's also like how's your well-being? How's your water intake? How are your steps? And so it's been really exciting to see the difference, and I'm not exhausted all the time. And the last few times I've lost weight, because I feel like it's almost cyclical. I lose weight, I gain it very quickly back. There's an exhaustion to it where I'm like, oh my God, I'm just done. This is so frustrating. And I haven't had that, which is also really great for me.
We're into keeping it off, girl.
Yes,
That's what we
that's the
do.
goal. That's the goal.
No more lose gain, no more of that
No.
fun stuff. So speaking of the scale and all of that fun stuff, outside of the scale, we kind of already talked a little bit about your energy a little bit, but what have you noticed in your body, energy, confidence, like wins that we don't really talk about outside of the scale, is concerned? How do you feel with that?
I feel so much better. Some of my clothes don't fit me anymore, which is really nice. I felt better in a bathing suit, um, which was really surprising because I'm always very self-conscious. But there are a lot of clothes that I've bought that I never end up wearing because I'm like, oh, it's a little tight. I'll wear it soon, and it never happens, but I've been able to wear them. And I've also been able to explore different types of clothing a little bit more. I feel like my style is the consistency throughout, especially during work. I wear like the same things, I cycle through. But now, especially in my personal life, I've been able to explore more. Even something small like wearing shorts outside, I never did that. I was really way too self-conscious. And now I'm doing that, even tank tops. So I feel a lot better.
Okay. Love that. Just walking around and
I know.
just being you, feeling good about it, not having that voice in the back of your head the entire time, like, should I be wearing this? I don't feel
Right.
comfortable.
Right.
That's huge. Okay. So how overall would you say this has impacted your life as a teacher, a wife, a sister, all of, the lovely qualities that you have about you? How would you say your life has changed since starting this program?
Oh, it's been amazing. I feel way more confident. I look more confident. Even at like work, when I'm doing work, it's just the smaller pieces about it. Where for me, I work in a workshop, and so I have to lift heavy things anyways. I'm more comfortable doing that, which is a good thing. And I think my colleagues appreciate that.
So how did it feel having a coach and a community supporting you along the way during this whole process?
It's been really great. I feel that I owe so much to you and Shelby, so much, because I make excuses like we all do. And ultimately, even if it was like a bad check-in week, or I had some weeks where I was really consistent, in the sense of I wasn't gaining weight, I wasn't losing weight. My inches stayed the same, and I still got constructive bits of information on it. There was never anything about shame, nor do I think you would ever do that, which I appreciate. But it was always like, hey, let's see what we can do. And so that's the environment that I think I really thrive in, where it's like we all do things, we all live lives. Sometimes we have to put ourselves on the back burner. We're here to help support you to make sure that you get to the goals that you're looking for and that you can modify and change your lifestyle, which is really exciting. And like I said earlier, the community support aspect there, I mean, people are posting all the time. If it's about food, if it's about their wins, and I just love reading all of it. I've really loved the challenges that we've had because we post every day. Like the recent one was protein, and I check every single post just to be like, oh, what did they do? What does this look like here? And it actually made me reflect a little bit more on myself as I'm just a really curious person. And though there are a lot of people within the program, I get to see that we're all doing this, we're all doing it slightly differently. Where the macros, the total calories, the expectations are slightly different based off of the person. That individualistic ideology of the programs, which is really great, which made me think more about, wow, I don't think anyone else is doing exactly what I'm doing. And so there's an appreciation for it because, and I also feel that all the trainers, including Shelby, Jess, and you, have to deal with so much because you have everyone on different plans. And you have to remember all these pieces and go through it. But that's also what makes it so special.
I love it. I always tell people, and this is me sounding hillbilly, and I don't really care for the YouTube, but there are more than one way to skin a cat, right? There's more than one way to skin a cat. So many different ways you can get to a goal. As long as we get to the goal at the end, who cares whether we did X, Y, Z? Whatever fits best for you individually and how
Right.
it helps you throughout the day, as long as it fits with your schedule and works for you. Because what I see is that, what one person does is not necessarily going to work for someone else. So
Yeah.
really, we have to find that jam and what works for you specifically and individually and help you get to those goals and numbers with what you have going on and making it fit around your life. The puzzle piece of the missing puzzle piece of all of this, trying to put together those pieces and get to a, beautiful end where we have this amazing puzzle. Putting those pieces together can look different for every person.
Right.
Well, yeah, love it. And then speaking of the coaching, what role did the accountability play in your success here?
I think the bigger part for me, it was always having someone there. Even on the weeks when I didn't feel I did my best and I wasn't feeling the best about myself. The accountability piece here was pivotal in making me just kind of go past that and go to the next step, which I think is really important because sometimes we kind of get stuck in that hole where we have, let's say, a little more negativity, like the thoughts in our head are a little more negative, all these pieces here. But the coaches were always there to kind of lift you up, be like, it's all good. Let's do this. Let's try this here, which I think was the best part about the accountability.
Solid. Okay. And speaking of mindset, how has your mindset changed since you started?
I think I look at working out now differently. Before, it was a requirement, it was an add on that I had to do it. And now, though I'm doing it, to me, it's still a requirement. The feelings around it is different. Even the days when I don't want to do it, I'm like, oh, I need to do it. Why do I need to do it? Because it's really important for me. This is a me activity because it's only going to benefit me. And so it made me change my mindset on why I was doing all of this.
Okay. I love it. And it's always to be a better version of Sydney.
Yes.
Be a better version of you. Pour more into yourself, especially because we talked about how your job and like all the number of hours that you work, all of the things you have going on in your life, but still finding that corner of time for you at the end of the day, right?
Right. And it's so hard. And I feel that there's been so much in society where kind of women have been told for so long to kind of put themselves on the back burner. and not always take care of themselves first. And I'm not saying that's what this program is, but it's not putting yourself back, it's putting yourself equal to everything else. And having that balance and having that created boundary of, hey, this is me time. And me time isn't just sitting on the couch watching TV, which is also valuable at times. This is more of me time where I'm building towards something. I'm creating better habits for myself, for the longevity and health of my future.
I love it. You put it so perfectly. It's all about
Yeah.
balance.
Yes,
I
yes,
love
it
it.
is.
I know we talk about balance, balance, balance. It really is. And
Yeah,
you're, a walking example of balance. You still find that time. Like there are, times where it's okay to sit on the couch and
right.
de-stress like you talked about. But you still make sure you get your stuff done and then you go sit on
Yes.
the couch. So it's all just part of the plan, balance. And I know that you were ready to jump in with both feet for this program. That's, honestly, the people that jump in with both feet, they're ready to go do the best in the program. But, even then, there's probably still a version of you that almost didn't join. So what would you say to that version of you that almost didn't join the program?
Don't be silly. It's like, don't be silly, just do it. Um, but in reality, it'd be like, you should have did it earlier because I hesitated for, I think it was like a month or two on doing it because of work. I should have just jumped in earlier, which is a funny thing to say, because I did jump in with 2 feet. But it's the hesitation that I felt was all in my head. And it was about everything else rather than what matters, which is myself. And so I'm really happy I did it. And I'm still doing it.
Awesome. And then, if someone is watching this and they're in the same spot that you were back then, what would you say to her?
Let's do it. I would say make the connection, have the conversation. Having the conversation with Lindsay is going to kind of squelch anything that you're feeling. Once I had that conversation with you, I was way more into it than I was initially. I was like, this is for me. They understand that life is messy, life is wonky, and that's totally fine and normal. And they're here to help support me to get to my goals, to get to the healthy lifestyle that I really want and I've aspired for years.
And here we are.
I know, I'm so excited.
I love it. And last question, girl. Why do you think Firefit training works when other things didn't work?
I think the bigger part here, because I've done others where it's like a message here or there, all those like those small pieces, but in reality, here it's the weekly voice calls, it's the ability to hop on a call. When I modified the program now the weekly with you, um, it's really that personability that I think really set this program apart. That I know what you and Shelby look like, number one. Um, that I feel like I have a connection with both of you. And that's what makes this easier, is I feel like I'm talking to someone that I know versus just a stranger,
The
which is
human
why it's
factor.
even harder to not do what I need to do sometimes because it's being held accountable. Like once I know we all have lives and you're like, I totally get it. I've done this, I've done that. And I'm like, "Ah, I know it was an excuse." But it's like talking more towards someone that you have like a closer, like professional relationship with, which is what I think really sets us apart.
Love it. That's why we're here. We are a family.
Yeah,
But your success really does speak to the fact that jumped in with both feet, ready to go.
yeah,
You haven't looked back on that version of Sydney that is sitting here, that we've left behind in the past because you basically became a new version of Sydney,
yeah.
new lifestyle, new choices, new mindset, completely different from when you started this program. And we can definitely see a change, not only physically, but mentally, emotionally, all of the things, because we know that we talk so much about this program being much more than just a physical program. We want you to evolve and change and grow as a person as well. And I've seen nothing but growth and change come from you in a positive manner. So, version of Sydney today, love her. I mean, we love the old Sydney too, but I like this version better.
I
She's
do
killing it.
too.
She's
I
killing
do
it.
too. I appreciate it. And like I said earlier, some things just take a little bit longer than what you see on TV or on Instagram. And that doesn't mean it's a worse off journey. It just means that it's more valuable because you spent a little more time on it. Sometimes quality matters more. And sometimes that quality just takes a little more time. And like I said, this is just the first step for me. I am so excited to continue and see what is in store next with my strength, with the way that I look, all of these pieces here. Because right now I feel like I've gotten the formula, it's working. I'm super excited for that. Now it's like, what other tweaks can be made? What can I do? So now it's like this exciting part of like, what's next?
That's what makes this so exciting
Yeah,
is, even in my position, being the coach, there's always something to learn.
yeah,
And I know you and I have these conversations frequently about education and learning and coaching. And, the industry changes day to day. There's always new
yeah,
research coming out about, weight loss and fitness and stuff that helps. Maybe things that didn't work so well that we thought worked well, maybe something works better. So it's always amazing to see what new research comes out. And then, just taking every day and learning, like we talked about. Never done learning, never done growing, never done evolving. So,
right.
and you've been a true testament to that. So, super glad to have had you here in the program and watched you go through these changes and be sitting aside, across from me today talking about your success. So, awesome work inside the program. Can't wait to see what's next for you. And I think that'll wrap up our interview today. So, thank you, girl, for coming on and answering my questions.
Of course, anytime.